Alright folks, so we are live. Alright, let's just give the stream a few minutes to, send the notifications out to my very valued followers. I think this video is going to be exceptionally important for everyone to kind of get a baseline understanding of where we're at in the market at the moment and how we can go about buying up the very valuable cryptocurrencies that we want in our portfolio. My name is Ryan and welcome to Crypto Grinders. So guys, I think at this point we clearly know that Bitcoin is testing the key support levels, right? So that's the technical aspects, but I think from the fundamental aspects, a lot of folks are wondering, should they start stepping in? Are they too late? Is the bull market over? Are we gonna go into a crypto winter for the next 6 months, 2 years? What's it gonna be? So I'm gonna just share my key opinions, right, and perspectives of the market, and hopefully this will give you the best possible insights. That being said, this is always about education, a little bit of entertainment, and I think everyone is here to learn. Everybody's here to have their own perspectives and opinions about the market. And for me, I'm not providing financial advice, so this is more of you learning my key strategies, and I'm sharing this with you in this video. So guys, as we know, Bitcoin is clearly on a downtrend. And most of the time, a lot of the NFT market, most of the NFT metaverse, hype has clearly tapered off, at least for now. Now, I was having a few conversations with my friends who are kind of heavily involved to moderately involved in NFTs. They've been flipping NFTs, and I just wanted to know their experience. So, first and foremost, before I get into that, I wanted to also share that Bitcoin at this point of time is being pulled down by the fundamental aspects of the global economic situation, right? We have Omicron. We also have the fact that we have Omicron. We have also the fact that right now there is talks of interest rate hikes. So interest rate hikes would in turn kind of slow things down, because when there's a lack of a stimulus package, or at least right now most stimulus packages are being cut back due to the heavy spending by most governments for the past 2 years because of COVID-19, right? And then from then you have there's just so much healthcare. There's just so much healthcare benefits. There's just so much spending packages for people who really need them. So this has cost trillions of dollars, and obviously it has to come from somewhere. That being said, there's also potential talks of implementing taxes for capital gains for crypto in certain countries. So this becomes a further drawback for folks who want to be enthusiastic about crypto. So this is something that is not much of a concern. It's just that people have to get past that. People have to make adjustments on how whether they should be trading crypto, whether they should be holding it in their portfolio. Because when you hold your crypto as an investment, usually it passes into the long-term capital gains tax. It doesn't have it's no longer like you're no longer flipping and trading. But because of that, there could be a potential where people would dive into NFTs, because NFTs is considered like you're buying a piece of art. You're buying a game or an item in a game. So that could probably kind of move away. I'm not sure whether regulators are, or at least folks are gonna regulators are gonna start taxing on crypto NFT transactions as well. That would be pretty disgusting if you ask me. But you know what? Sometimes these kind of things, I don't like to get involved. I kind of feel that if governments want to do something, the people have to kind of revolt and stand. It just becomes really messy and it's pretty long drawn, right? But end of the day, that's something that's going to be happening. Whether or not it takes place in your country is always very questionable. So for now, let's just look at the whole overall market, right? So we have dropped below 2 trillion, guys. At this point in time, sadly, we couldn't hold the $2 trillion mark, but still, crypto overall is a trillion dollar, more than $1 trillion market cap, and that's very encouraging because we all know that, you know, Tesla, we know that Amazon, they are $1 trillion stocks. They are already $1 trillion stocks. So when I look at the space at this point of time, and people ask me, Ryan, am I late to the party? Am I, you know, Bitcoin is coming off, you know, it's no longer holding its price. Should I even still bother even to step in? And my answer is always yes. And I always give them that comparison. I say, hey guys, you know, you have Tesla here and you have Amazon that are, and they are already $1 trillion in terms of market cap. Whether they hold or not is beside the point. I'm just saying that if one stock can be $1 trillion and we have this whole ecosystem, this new market that is 1.96 trillion, I mean, the potential of it continuing to grow, and the very first cryptocurrency that hits 1 trillion could be Bitcoin, could be something else. So that becomes very exciting. Now, of course, naturally, development-wise, it's always spread out across the whole market. So at this point in time, I don't see any particular cryptocurrency potentially hitting $1 trillion. Not yet. Okay, I would say that Bitcoin has the best chance to be $1 trillion in market cap, because it's just the most accessible. It's the most popular. It is the most secure. So I would say that Bitcoin has the best bet to become $1 trillion. Now, I would also like to say that if you are watching this for the very first time, the crypto market has provided the opportunity for you to grow your wealth in a different way, right? And there's just so many ways to grow it, right? There is the opportunity to buy and hold for future growth. There is the opportunity to do staking. There is the opportunity to do liquidity providing, which is also another form of staking, come mining, and you're getting rewards on a particular token that you love, right? So if you have the conviction of this market, right? And of course, conviction is something that takes time. Okay, and I think most people are very attached to whatever they invested in. If I was someone who was in a particular or holding a certain cryptocurrency, I realized obviously I would talk a lot of good stuff about it. But if I wasn't holding a particular cryptocurrency, then I would be more skeptical. I would even potentially trash the project and stuff like that. But I think at this point of time, there's just so much to choose from. There truly is just so much choices out there, and the landscape keeps changing. It's always very interesting. I sometimes find it funny that I see a single Twitter post coming out from a founder, for example, and the people who have bought the tokens at a high are bashing it, right? And this has happened ever since 2017. It's very, very adorable because people don't like to see their bags falling in value. So suddenly it becomes the company's fault that the token isn't doing well. So to a certain extent, that may be true, right? If you were a shareholder in a particular company, and if you were mature enough to understand the tie-ins that affect, either as a driver or a retractor for that particular company, you would also be a little bit more aware. You'll be more mature on that. And I sincerely hope that as time goes by, there will always be folks that are still new and they're buying it for the very first time, and unfortunately maybe they bought certain cryptocurrencies high. So I did mention also in another separate video that the whole NFT space would and should go through a 90% correction. And I'm going to actually address that in this video because I think too many people are just so hyped up about, all the content that is being out there. It's just like it's just basically like going to a candy shop, right? You don't even know which candy you want, but you only have like $10, all right? And you want to buy as much candy as you can so that you can sample practically as many as you can, right? But the question is, which one's going to do well? That's the hardest question, and I personally have been asking myself, if I was to start investing into something that is an NFT land or an NFT game, which one would it be? and I have not officially made a decision because I'm still observing. That's the truth. And it's okay, guys. If you are very, very new to the market and you are still observing, that's great. You have not missed out, because right now with the recent correction, you're going to see the opportunities start to become more and more attractive. So having a watch list of cryptocurrencies that you could potentially be interested in is very important at this time. Also, setting alerts to certain key prices. So like I said, if you're very new, I think it's always good to identify from a technical aspect, right? What's a good price to buy? So all these things need to be addressed. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer form video this time around, rather than, you know, the usual short form. And most of the time I usually do videos that are around 20 minutes or more. So you gotta sit back, chill, and, you know, take a wine or coffee or something like that, and just, you know, relax. So right now, like I said, Bitcoin is being pulled back by the fundamental reasons: interest rate hikes, potential capital tax, US tax season, any kind of, and also Chinese New Year. I think Chinese New Year, you know, the weird thing is that last year, exactly this time, the market was crazy. It was going up aggressively. So what was the driving sector? The driving sector was the DEXs. You had Uniswap, you had Uniswap, you had SushiSwap, you had Curve. You know, they were just going at it, going up. Pancake Swap as well, going crazy. Everybody was just making tons of money in that very, very first January leading up to March, right? It was excellent. But right now, you don't see that, right? You don't even see any inkling of a bull run. You're just seeing everything just starting to breach and go lower after support level after support level. So when does it end? You know, and everyone's very concerned, because especially when they bought their very first Bitcoin, I would assume it would not be Bitcoin. I would assume that it would be an NFT related metaverse game kind of token, right? So when I kind of looked at the whole space, I knew that, okay, shit, I'm late in that sense. I'm kind of short-term late. So if I wanted to step in, what would I do? So this video is like not only just for me, but I think for a lot of folks out there. So if you're looking at Bitcoin at this point in time, we are looking at key support levels. So I would say that the dominance is very healthy and it still favors altcoins, right? Because you see, you still have 40% in altcoins, in Bitcoin, and the rest and the remaining is 60%. So this piece of data from Masari.io clearly tells me that we are still altcoin lovers. Okay, it still shows that it's not like suddenly turning the tide at this point in time. So that's kind of interesting. But also it tells me that not everyone is ready to pick up Bitcoin at the moment, right? Because if you see the dominance turning, say, back to 50 to 60%, it just goes to show that, okay, Bitcoin is cheap enough and people want to step back in. Now, the question is, why isn't, we're already like at the previous key support, which is the $40,000 mark. That means I don't see the fact that there seems to be no bullish momentum. Maybe most companies, most hedge funds ran out of cash, or they're just sitting in cash anticipating a lower drop, a further drop, right? So if the institutions, hedge funds, right, whales, right, individual investors who are really rich are anticipating a lower level, then, there could be further sell down by the weaker hands, right? And it could also be profit taking, because when I spoke to some of my P2P providers, right, they've been in the market since, like, God knows, 2012, 2013, that kind of thing, and most are actually cashing out. They're selling off their Bitcoin and just holding cash, just anticipating, because we had a good run in stocks, we had a good run in crypto. So there has to be profit taking, and I do see for the fact that this money has to channel somewhere. So could it be into collectibles? As you all know, that I collect Magic the Gathering cards. I do occasionally buy luxury watches, but it isn't my thing. It could even potentially move to fine art, that kind of stuff. Just stuff that is it holds value well, but it's not as liquid as the stuff that you and I are used to buying, which is crypto or even stocks. So since all this money is flowing out, there has to be some kind of retracement, and that's actually clearly being shown in the crypto market at the moment. So since Bitcoin is trying to find its next support level, I wanted to take this time to also try to assess and see what I could pick up in 2022. So right now, when I look at the whole space, I still am a big believer in smart contract platforms, at least the ones that are going to be providing bridging, better security, and organization for projects to build on that are safe, right? So the very first cryptocurrency that comes to my mind, at least for a start, would be Polkadot, right? Just full disclaimer, Polkadot is one of my largest holdings, and I've been staking it since last year, beginning of last year actually. And I wanted to add on positions, but I refused to buy past the $30 mark. I just felt that Polkadot already ran up so much beginning of 2021, and I wanted to kind of have a cap. When we go crazy, when we are having the fear of missing out, we don't want to buy a cryptocurrency when it's like just going off the charts, right? And since it was going parabolic, I decided, I need to call a number. And my number was just $30, right? And that was the reason. Was very simple. There's no way that you can quantify that $30 is cheap. Neither can you say that $30 is expensive for Polkadot either. You can't even say that for most cryptocurrencies. But what you can do is just technically assess it. You kind of look at the amount that is being staked. And I'm going to come to that. The amount that is being staked. We always assume that just because staking is enabled, there's more listings on different exchanges, we immediately assume that there's going to be a price support. But clearly that's not the case, right? So even when staking is enabled, whether there are master nodes and stuff like that, it provides some, but it doesn't prevent the price of the cryptocurrency from even potentially falling another 50-60%. It doesn't stop it. So I would say that, guys, you have to be very, very mindful, and you have to set a budget of how much you want to buy, and also having a plan of when to buy, right, is also very important. Across a given time frame, doing dollar cost averaging has always been just absolutely the best strategy, right? So this is just, it's so simple, and that's the thing. I like it when there's a simple straightforward strategy in place so that you know exactly what to do. So for smart contracts, my pick is Polkadot. So that is something that I will be adding. I do have a few price points that I kind of like and would like to observe. I would say that $20 and below would be extremely attractive for me to pick up more Polkadot and add to my long-term position. And it's giving me a very nice return of about a reward of about 14%. So there are times that you also have to understand that the rewards help you to mitigate and average down on its own. So that's why a lot of people love staking, because after committing an X amount of money, you kind of may not have or do not want to put in more. So staking and getting that reward gives you that opportunity to dollar cost average automatically, right? Because the network is still providing and dishing out tokens. Now, when you are doing staking, bear in mind that you are having your liquidity or the availability to your tokens kind of taken away from you. Now, there are some exchanges that have no lock-in, right? But if you're staking either on Ledger or you're staking on your own, there is usually a 28 days lockup. Okay, there are some exchanges that provide a lockup. There are certain exchanges that don't have a lockup. So just take note that you need to decide your time horizon, how long you want to stay invested in this particular token. If you are someone who kind of needs the liquidity all the time, then I wouldn't suggest staking it, or at least finding a platform that doesn't have a long lock-in period or no lock-in period. And the reason why they can pay you that interest is for two reasons. One, they are actually consolidating, and they are a node themselves, right? So that way they are kind of using the liquidity or the dot that is being staked for their own purpose. The other is because they are an exchange, they are actually able to lend out that token for shorting. And in turn, they can pay you a reward. They can pay you back in that particular token as well when there is settlements and when there's liquidation, right? So it's really free money for the exchanges most of the time. There's zero risk other than the fact that you need to assess the counterparty risk of that exchange. So just take note. Now, apart from Polkadot, that is kind of like one of the main core plays. I am pretty interested in getting some Bitcoin because I know for a fact that if the market does turn, Bitcoin has to be the leader at this point of time. There's just no... It has been like that for more than 10 years already. In fact, this is the 13th year from what I understand. It's the 13th-year anniversary of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is still the big daddy, right? And we kind of want to always make sure that if the crypto market is going to be healthy, Bitcoin is the very first one that has to start moving. I have yet to see a very strong cryptocurrency that can be decoupled. That means when Bitcoin is just dropping, for the past 5 years, this particular cryptocurrency is just going up. I have not seen a Tesla-like crypto at this point of time. I just haven't. And when I say I haven't seen it, I want to see long term. I want to see for the fact that, okay, Bitcoin has been trending sideways for more than a year. I want to see Bitcoin maybe dropping to 20,000, but you see perhaps Ethereum going up to 10,000. That true strong decoupling that I don't need. That means the community is just strong enough that I don't need to depend on Bitcoin. I am strong enough to say I can move out on my own. I have not seen that. So that's one thing. So the next kind of, apart from Bitcoin, apart from Polkadot, I think I want to look at the whole NFT space. I feel that NFT is just way too early. Okay, so this is the part where it gets a bit fun, right? So when I look at the whole NFT OpenSea, and OpenSea is a very good platform for you to kind of take a look at the various projects. And I think at this point of time, people are bored, right? So when you go to OpenSea, right, it's just so amazing that there's so much opportunity for creation. People are just buying and creating stuff all the time. When I look at this marketplace and I looked at the whole NFT sector, right, the good thing is that it provides people or artists the ability to get attention. Okay, in the past, maybe their works were not even recognized as a freelance when you're doing freelance work, or you're just trying to get attention, right? You just cannot. But right now, there's the opportunity for you to create an account as an artist and put up your work. And whether or not you're good enough will depend on how you drive the attention to your portfolio. And your portfolio obviously is what you put up as a collection within in OpenSea. So it's like the perfect opportunity. It's like me as a creator. I don't have many people watching at this point in time, but when I used to, right? I was considered a nobody, right? I was considered a nobody, but I was given an opportunity by YouTube to create an account and put up free content. Now there's that opportunity right here in the whole NFT space. That's one thing that's very important. Okay, so when I see this happening and I looked at how games or NFT blockchain games are appearing, I realized one thing. There has to be an ability for the community to earn as well. It cannot just be play to earn. Okay, play to earn, there are two things that I wanted to highlight. One thing is that when you say play to earn, okay, Sandbox has one of the best ecosystems out there. Firstly, they are allowing different content creators to create the assets, right? So assets are basically the characters, items in the game, that kind of stuff. Having the ability to create is very, very important, and the good thing is that you don't have to be a programmer to do so. That's a very, very big plus for me when I'm looking at what metaverse land or game to get involved in. Now, when I compare that to Gala games, okay, I notice that there is no way for a creator to create, right? I can't put up my asset. I'm only able to buy. And only game developers, right? Only game developers are able to put up stuff to sell, right? Any kind of item, NFT drop is by the developers themselves. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that there's less engagement. That's all I'm saying, right? So when I look at the Sandbox, right, you can actually also be a game maker. That means you download the game maker and you create your own environment. Now I know that this is a direct, or I wouldn't say direct, but I would say it's the concept comes from Roblox and Minecraft, where you can already create your assets and you can and create an experience for different people to play and have fun. So at this point of time, Sandbox is providing you that ability to do so. Now, what I kind of don't like, is for the fact that a lot of these assets are extremely ridiculously expensive. It just doesn't make sense for any item to be priced at a few hundred to a few thousands of dollars. It doesn't make sense to me. That's the part that I really cannot accept at this point of time. And hence, I have not purchased a single item. Because let's just put it this way. I know for a fact that next time, going forward, digital items, digital collectibles are a way to flex. But if every metaverse, right, is a silo of its own. So what I'm trying to say is that the Sandbox, right, is its own ecosystem. Gala is its own ecosystem. Illuvium is its own ecosystem. There's sincerely no flex other than for the fact that these three ecosystems are separate. Okay, let's just put things in perspective. This watch, like I said, it's well known, right? It's an Audemars Piguet. Everybody knows, or at least people who are into luxury knows. But at least it's a worldwide thing. It's international. Okay, it's not like only people in Singapore would know about Audemars Piguet. It's an international brand. Until the ecosystems or there's a way to bridge, right, the items across various multi-metaverses, then it starts to make sense. Hence, the bridging is extremely important, which brings me back to my point of, is there a way that blockchains can and must communicate with each other? Games and avatars must be able to move from one game to another, and that is a tall order that I cannot see happening anytime soon. It is just such a big dream, okay? Because within the ecosystem, the only one that I noticed that is attempting to do that is Gala Games, where you can kind of buy the avatar and you can play it between, I think, Townstar and Miranda's. Okay, that's the only one. But that, like I said, is within Gala, the Galaverse, right? Within the Galaverse. Whereas you can't say that you want to bring your Vox collectibles and move it to the Sandbox. I don't know whether you can do that. I would assume that there could be a potential merger. Now, if large conglomerates or large companies are partnering up, now that becomes a very, very exciting value proposition. And then it starts to make sense why a particular item, for example, let's say I was just browsing and I saw, a very expensive chair. Okay, let me show you. I saw a very expensive chair in the space, because I felt that this content creator, this content creator within Sandbox was so this particular content creator, her name is lady, let me just open this up. Okay, I hope that it doesn't drop. Yeah, okay, so this creator within the Sandbox called Lady Pixie Company, right, makes very nice collectibles. But I just felt that although there's an attribute, right, to owning the great library and there are only 20 pieces, it's 787.5 Sand for this great library. And to me, I'm like, okay, I get it. When people buy Metaverse Land and they want to create an experience, they want to have the coolest things and the coolest items. But I kind of can't understand why I should be paying $3,890 US dollars for something that gives me 20 power, 22 defense, 22 speed, and 16 luck. I kind of understand that there will be some attributes that will be added to your character, or whatever. I understand that. I've played games before. I do understand, right? It's just that it's not very clear where all these items will need to be. Hence, brings me to my next point. When you're buying a luxury item, to me this is a luxury item, guys. Nobody freaking pays $3,890, right? If it doesn't have any okay, look, real world suddenly becomes the wrong word to use. Let's say there's some utility. Okay, let's say there's some utility. I kind of understand. And that utility would mean, like, let's say I have the opportunity to meet Lady Pixie. I'm such a crazy fan of her work that it gives me the opportunity to meet her in person, right? Or I have exclusive content. Okay, that suddenly has real world utility. This is all in-game utility. And for this price, how many people can afford? Seriously, how many people can afford? This is not discrediting her works, by the way, okay? Because maybe she put in a lot of time, and you look at it, it is pretty intricate, guys, when you look at it. But however, the thing looks very rough, it's digital. It's so different from actually crafting a luxury piece. It's so different from crafting a watch, an actual piano, an actual library, right? The craftsmanship, it's so different. And at this point of time, the market still should value real-world items versus metaverse items. It's just the way it is. Because right now, it's not like we suddenly have, the whole planet just got nuked, and we are rebuilding, and the whole planet is just ugly. We shouldn't be meeting people because maybe they are infected or something like that. Well, it kind of sounds like that, right? People get infected. But anyway, let's just say that the planet, right, was just, you don't want to meet anybody. You want to meet everybody in a very nice environment. Hence, I understand the need for a metaverse. Hence, I kind of understand that, wow, suddenly my metaverse home looks way better. But are you kidding me, man? This is actually $3,980 at this point in time. So I just cannot buy that. I cannot buy into that idea that this is the correct price. And the correct price will only be determined over time. Maybe one day, this artist gains so much credibility and traction that I'll be just, shooting my own foot, that this library becomes $30,000 for some reason. And I believe so, because at the time, you have other luxury items that were not worth as much. Currently, they are worth a lot. So it's the same thing, right? My price point in my head cannot justify buying this item. It's not about whether I have or don't have the money, but why am I buying this item? So you have to assess that as well. So there's firstly, to kind of wrap things up on this point, there's no interaction between worlds. Okay? I want to see some interaction between worlds, not just within this world. If it's going to be within this world, this price is way too high. Now, the next thing, way too high is also relevant. What if, for example, I'm the only one that owns this library and it provides me a lot of benefits in the game for me to make more money? Now, you see, suddenly, because since we are talking about play to earn, then yes, we have to play to earn, guys. I need to learn, I need to make back my investment. If I'm going to be spending $3,890 for a library, it better do something exceptional for me. It's just the way it is, right? Like, I have to have some exclusivity. Maybe, for example, I get to go into a building that only has that everyone owns this library, and somehow we can have a network connection, or we can go and slay a monster or something like that. There has to be something special. I cannot be spending this amount of money, and this amount of money can actually buy a lot of AAA games, guys. I can buy probably 3 or 4, right, PS5s, give them out, and still buy another 4 more. You get what I'm saying? Right? That's the reality of things. So I just can't. Okay, so I understand that there are also people who will buy it for the collectability. Okay? The collectability is pretty important. Having the conviction and loving and supporting the artist could be another way why I would buy her work. But at this point of time, I just can't see myself forking out this amount of money, even if I wanted to support her. If the prices were more fair, okay, and I would say that, okay, right now suddenly I see, oh my god, a lot of players are buying this rare great library and it serves a purpose. I hope that there will be an opportunity, and I guarantee there will, the opportunity to buy it on the secondary market. It's just like, for example, I didn't know about Magic until I know about Magic, but I just didn't have the money to actually invest or even play Magic back in my secondary school days. But because the game still survived, right? After 27 years, it survived. There are people who are offloading or selling off their cards. I now have the opportunity to purchase them and enjoy the game at its, at that format, right? So this could potentially be it. I may be kicking myself right now by saying, oh, Ryan, you remember that video that you made about the Great Library, about, Lady Pixie? Well, that library is now currently worth $20,000 or even $30,000. Then I'll be like, okay, and then maybe I'll go and buy it then. You know what I mean? Like, that could be the case, guys, because I look at it from the fact that at the time I could not own a Submariner. I didn't have the money. I didn't even have the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $7,000 at that time to own a Submariner. But now I can own a Submariner, right? But to own a Submariner now, a Rolex Submariner, would cost you anywhere from $20,000 US to $25,000 US. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so I think that at this point of time, there are gonna be ripples in the market that will be observed. Okay, you have to observe the market a little bit more before making a decision on what you decide to invest in and what you decide to buy. So if you were to ask me what metaverse I would like to look at, I think the best would be Sandbox, right? Because Sandbox, to me, has a very good ecosystem. It has one of the largest communities, and they're already in the second alpha testing, which is going to be the second season. So I'm going to be really keeping a close eye on this particular project. And when the prices are just more stable, I can see for a fact that it looks like as if it has stabilized, but I think it might go down further. I feel that this would be a very, very good token to pick up because there's just much more utility at this point in time, and I think the ecosystem is more vibrant because it allows content creators to create stuff, and content creators do not have to have any kind of developer or coding knowledge. They can just download the voxel editor and the game maker, and they can start creating assets, and they can start creating a game for folks to enjoy, or people, members who love to play to enjoy. So my bet is on Sandbox. Could there be potentially other hidden and smaller gems? Definitely, but I think right now I would like to pick one of the stronger projects. Don't forget also, and I forgot to mention that Sandbox actually has ample funding. This was also a very important factor for me because creating games is actually very, very expensive, right? Because to hire developers, to hire your designers and all that, it costs a lot of money, and having actual private investments, right, is important for the success and longevity of the project. So Sandbox has that, right? This is one of the important factors also, because I noticed that a lot of projects don't have the same amount of funding. So this is my concern. If they're running a startup, at some point they're gonna run out of cash, all right, because their burn rate is too high. And if you want to continue to keep updating your game, you definitely need to keep your employees on your payroll, right? So money is very important, because at this point in time, other than the sale of assets, which is the key driver, because I don't see any subscription being accepted at this point in time. That means the sale of assets is one of the ways that you can support the project. So yes, when I look at it, I was like, okay, maybe by paying these people this amount of money for an asset is to encourage them. if you were one of the first few people to fly up into space on perhaps Virgin, on Amazon, or SpaceX or whatever, right? You'll be paying a hefty price just to fly up to space for just a few hours just to get that experience. And you are one of the first people who are gonna experience that. It's obviously very baller, right? That you were able to fly up to space. Maybe this is it. Maybe you are baller enough that you can just pay these content creators, right? But I'm cheap. I need to stress that I'm cheap. So I would only support once I feel that the correction is kind of over, that people are now listening and trying to observe, and then I will start buying up these things. Because like I said, guys, when this whole space really evolves and you start seeing the breakthroughs, right, that's when it gets extremely exciting. All right, guys, so I kind of want to stress that. I wanted to just, okay, so it's already 40 minutes in. I appreciate the attendance. I appreciate the attention that you have given me. Have a good weekend. Like I said, guys, this space is still young. You're not too late. Just that you have to have a plan and a strategy in place. Do your own research. Stay safe, guys. See you in the next live stream.